Good morning everyone, welcome to a new market update, and today we're going to discuss some altcoins as DeFi is heating up once again. We can see that those are the strongest movers and they are moving fast, as in some of them are already up more than 150% since the low of about 2 weeks ago. But first we're going to discuss Ethereum, as Ethereum is also holding a critical level for support in order to be able to run towards 3K. So are we actually continuing the bear market, or are we flipping bull already? I think the latter, especially given that Bitcoin also flipped a very critical level for support and closed the CME gap, which was very likely to be happening in general, given the fact that we've had a weekend pump, and during such a weekend pump you usually come back down to the level of Friday, which was the closing of the CME gap. But before we're going to continue, do not forget to subscribe beneath, and also do not forget to like this YouTube update, as I'll be providing daily YouTube updates. And do not forget to check out our group where you can trade alongside me, get educated, and move through these markets in a good manner. Just in the description you can find the group information. So let's check Ethereum first. As in, when you're looking at the daily picture of Ethereum, you can see that we are still at a critical breaker on the USDD pair for continuation. So you can see that we have to crack this entire region between 2300 and 2400 in order to be able to continue the momentum towards the upper side of the range, which is 2.9k. But what you can also see is that we've had a double bottom test of the 1700 level, and second, we've had a rejection around this range and flipped the 2k level that I wanted to see flip for support as support. So this is the first level that I was watching. We were holding there, and now you can see that we've had the rejection around the critical breaker here, but the critical level to hold support, which you can see is a very, I have to adjust it, which is a very important in the past already, which is the 2200 level, is sustaining support once again. So if you want to see continuation to the upside, this region, it has to hold in general. If that is holding, you're avoiding a breakdown towards 2k, as I discussed yesterday already. So if this level is breaking south, you're going to see a test of 2k, and most likely you will get granted some shorting opportunities, as we most likely are going to make a lower high. However, in this trend, we are now making higher highs, higher lows. So we are getting to a stage where we have some minimal compression, in which this recent high is going to act as resistance. But in general, this sideways period is going to wake up a new impulse wave. And most likely, given this structure and given that we are making higher highs, higher lows, a breakout to the upside is likely going to happen, in which I'm going to target the other side of the range, which is between 2.8 to 3k as the next level of resistance. If that is going to be the level that we're going to be testing here, I think the rest of the altcoins will start continuing their momentum as well. When we look at Bitcoin and I say the CME gap has closed, I'm saying the Bitcoin CME futures chart. You can see that during the weekend, this is the close on Friday, the weekend makes a move. And on Sunday evening, we opened up around 35 high, and you can see that this was the gap in between. But this gap is beautifully closed, as we can see on the 4-hour as well. So the gap is done and the price can start moving further upwards. But next to that, we can also see that the Wyckoff structure is still following the path, as in we are still making higher highs, higher lows, and we can continue running towards 35.4, get compression and make another breakout to the upside. When we look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, we can also see, and that's what I've discussed last week, that the chances of making a lower low on the dominance chart and further downwards momentum is very likely to be happening around the case here. So what we see is that we've had a bounce up after a very beautiful period for altcoins, but we are not breaking back above the 50% level, and that's because of Ethereum, Bitcoin doing well. Ethereum Bitcoin had to hold some very important levels. We've seen that we have made a lower high here. We've made a double bottom around the 0.57 Bitcoin level. And from there we've had a bounce upwards. What I state here is that the critical breaker to sustain support is this level around 0.6 Bitcoin. If that stays there, we are granting ourselves already towards the resistance zone. And once we're going to do that, the chances of another implied impulse wave to the upside are increasing significantly, given that that is showing us strength for continuation of the markets, given the fact that Ethereum 2.0 and all the upgrades are coming as well. So when we look at altcoins, DeFi is the first group that is doing really well. So we can see that Aave has had a very harsh crash in May during that period where Bitcoin corrected heavily. You should realize that altcoins have been crashing down the last day that Bitcoin dropped. So the last day on Wednesday when Bitcoin dropped to 29k, that was the moment where altcoins started to fall down heavily and got crushed. So once Bitcoin is going to grind back up, it's very likely that altcoins are going to follow suit and outperform Bitcoin, which is also similar to the previous bull cycles where Bitcoin finished its correction, and from there the momentum starts to get towards altcoins as they are picking up the levels again and get back to the levels pre-crash. So what we see here with Aave is that we're running up about 76% on the Bitcoin pair. And on the USDT pair, we are actually up about 120% since the low. So critical resistance zones are quite clear. We can see a slight rejection here around 7,500 sats. I was assuming that we could be testing the support once again, but we didn't. So we cracked further up and now we are at the next resistance zone. So is this an entry point right now? Obviously not. It is just not the case that you want to chase those runs. You want to look for an entry around this region. But if you're looking to buy back your altcoins at a lower level because Bitcoin was potentially going to make a new correction, that's just not the game. You want to buy when nobody is interested, and Aave just made a beautiful retest of this block of support here, which grants us some nice strength to the upside and actually triggered a beautiful long entry. And not only Aave is doing it on the Bitcoin pair, you can also see it on the USDT pair, in which we are running upwards here and getting close to a resistance zone. So if you're looking for any entry point, anything around this region is where you want to trigger Aave against USDT. So are there altcoins that are still not moving at all? Yes, there are many of them still not moving at all. Chainlink itself is ready to make a breaker to the upside still. Where Aave is already at this level, many coins are still ready to follow suit. So if you want to get an entry right now, you're looking for those altcoins that are still accumulating on the downside and are ready to make such a big run. If Chainlink breaks through this level between 56 to 60k, you're going to see continuation towards 75k. And then most likely we're starting up a new bull cycle on this one too. And there's many of them that you can check out. Swipe is a similar one. Curve is a similar one. Tomo and Kava are quite strong. You can just scroll through the charts and you can find many of them. But if you want to get into altcoins, this is the moment. I'll see you again tomorrow for a fresh new update. And do not forget to subscribe and check out our website beneath. See you again.